Bonjour, good morning, welcome all of you. So this morning we are going to have a excellent topic. This earthly life become the life divine. We are approaching towards the end point of our Savitri summarization. Here we are in the book 11, and this is the topic is the eternal day, the soul's choice and the supreme consummation. And here we are going to take on the subject that is this earthly life become the life divine. Many things, it is of course the biggest canto we have ever seen in Savitri. It is almost around more than 41 pages. So by the step, everything we can cover in our single process of this session of Savitri summarization. Now we are going to have a real gist. This is the summary we are going to take up. Anyway, in the end, Sri Aurobindo quotes, nature shall live to manifest the secret God. The spirit shall take up the human play. This earthly life become the life divine. So you will have a great discussion. We'll have the great regards actually the great description on Virat, Hiranyagarbha, the superconscient like Pragya, and of course finally we find that discussion the about the author superconscient Pragya, like this great creations we will find. So this Ananda Ghana Purusa, Chaitanya Ghana, blissful, the bliss and consciousness, Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Chaitanya Ghana, Ananda Ghana, so many things we'll find, and we'll find the voice, the talk between Savitri and this great spirit we will show, soul saw soul. So this voice will be heard, and there will be little bit conversation between Savitri and him. And finally we will have the prayer, and of course that is the sanction we will get, and of course towards the final part about the human being, about the future world, about the divinity, about the human race, and everything has been described in a clear cut way. So it is a great this canto is of course book 11 and the canto 1. This is only one canto. It is almost 41 pages here. So little by little we'll go into this chapter in very brief. Initially we know this is book 11, eternal day, the soul's choice and the supreme consummation. Sri Aurobindo starts the chapter with like this: a marvelous sun looked down from ecstasy's skies on walls. From ecstasy's skies a marvelous sun looked down on walls of deathless bliss, perfection's home. So here we can find her body quivered with the eternity's touch. Her soul stood close to the founts of the infinity. Infinity's finite fronts she lived in. Now we can go. Night was impossible to such radiant heavens. Twilight and mist were exiles from that air. Immortal clarities of form is seen. So later we can go at the seven immortal hours were seen sublime. Homes of the blessed released from death and sleep. So we can find later into the good format, step by step we will go. Songs thrilled of birds upon unfading boughs, the colors of whose plumage had been cut from the rainbow of imagination's wings. Later we can find music not with these few and striving steps, aspire that wide wander upon transient strings. She saw all nature marvelous without fault. Her being's fibre reached out, vibrating, and claimed deep union with the outer selves. Our human pleasure is a fallen thread, less symbol shapes a careless ornament. Then we can go and find the heart was a torch lit from infinity. The limbs were trembling densities of the soul. So we can go because already we have seen. We'll just go for the summarization with just few quoting few lines. She beheld the clasp to earth denied and bore the imperishable eyes of a veilless love. Then we can go little bit further. Um, their time dwelt with eternity as one immense felicity joined rapt repose. Then there is a change. The Lord is coming to her front. We can find the labor of the stars is circuit vain, and the death end of every human road, and grief and pain the wages of man's toil. Then that transformed, changed shape you can find here. One whom her soul had faced as a death and night, a sum of all sweetness gathered into his limbs, and blinded her heart to the beauty of the suns. Transfigured was the formidable shape. His darkness and his shared destroying might, abolishing forever and disclosing the mystery of his high and violent deeds. Then we can find that is the change. Hate was the grip of a dreadful amor strife, a ruthless love intent only to possess. Then we can go. In him, the fourfold being, that's what we are already, I have told you. Fourfold him bore its crown that wears the mystery of a nameless name. Virat, who lights his campfires in the suns and star entangled ether is his hold. So later we can go for Hiranyagarbha, author of thoughts and dreams, who sees the invisible and hears the sounds that never visited a mortal ear. He is the carrier of the hidden fire. He is the voice of the ineffable. He is the invisible hunter of the light. Then third spirit, of course, this is super conscience, Chaitanya Ghana, what we describe in our words. We can feel he is the center of the circle of gods. He is the circumference of nature's run. Later we find the fourth one, that Anandaganan. The bliss that made the world is in his body lived. Love and delight were the head of this sweet form. So we can go and that time period, that beautiful description, that merger we can find. He seemed the wideness of a boundless sky. He seemed the passion of a sorrowless earth. He seemed the burning of a worldwide sun. Two looked upon each other, so here till now we are going for the summarization. Then we will go for the next part of our discussion. This is already we have discussed. This is book 11, the eternal day, the soul's choice and the supreme consummation. It is God's everlasting day. It is very clear. God's everlasting day. A marvelous sun looks down from ecstasy's skies. Then Savitri's soul is close to the founts of the infinity. Close to the founts of the infinity, because that victory is in the human form is already achieved, accomplished. Immortal earths and griefless heavens come into view, all thrills with the immanence of the divine. Initially, we found everything is dark, grey, turbid, fearful, dreadful. Now itself, everything is just the opposite. Souls of luminous joy, souls of luminous joy, faces of exquisite beauty, gem-cut cities and the gleaming coasts are beheld around. Everything is actually changed. That darkness, that grayness, everything is anguish, that threatening situation, everything is changed. She sees all nature marvelously faultless, rapturous, beautiful. Her soaring vision alights on realms after realms of felicity, where dwell the gods, nymphs, celestial musicians, high seers. Their form is a light raiment of the soul. Form is a light raiment of the soul. Color, a visible tone of ecstasy. All is potent and lucid joy. Time and eternity live as one. Just imagine how great description is there, and the situation and the surrounding, how it is varying after Savitri's death over victory over death. Savitri's victory over death. Savitri discovers that the creator of these marvelous worlds creator of these marvelous worlds as the same as the one who creates the universe, the same one whom her soul had faced as death and night. His darkness is no more. Instead, there is a luminous splendor. Already we have seen no darkness, no grayness. Everything is luminous splendor. All grace and divinity are here collected in a single charm. She regards him as Virat, the spirit of these things seen. Next, Hiranyagarbha, author of thoughts and dreams. The superconscient, Prajna, a creator of things in his all-knowing sleep. Above them is the brooding bliss of the infinity. That number 4, the bliss that made the world lives in his body. That is what the real beholding, real finding. The two looked each other, soul sees soul, that's what we see. Then we can hear the voice. The voice is heard. Thou hast seen what man has missed in his blindness. What normally out of blindness, in his blindness, normally men miss that you have seen. Hey, my secrecy is a bliss, that's what nobody has seen but you. I am the inviolable ecstasy. Those who have looked on me shall grieve no more. I am the inviolable ecstasy. The eyes that look at me shall grieve no more. Heaven and earth are two powers born of one original ecstasy. Heaven and earth are two powers born out of one original ecstasy. But they are parted in the life of man. This gulf shall be healed one day. This gulf, heaven and earth, opposite poles, it will be abridged, healed one day. Till then, you too shall serve the dual law and wait patiently. For that you have been missioned to earth. But if thou wouldst abandon the vexed world, then arise, ascend, O soul, into thy blissful home. Cast off the myth of the earth's desire, arise to felicity. O soul, to felicity arise. A unique joy pours down on Savitri and she listens to the ensnaring voice. Beautiful voice she listens. With a smile in her eyes she replies, O temper with the lure of heaven, I climb not to thy everlasting day. I climb not to thy everlasting day. I will not turn from thy terrestrial way. Give me back the other self, Satyavan, my soul desires. Whom the earth needs, it is not a need for me, not for the purpose of my place. It the earth needs. Take not the warrior with his blow still unstruck. He is there, ambition, his mission, aim is to strike, but his blow is still unstruck. Earth is our field. There lies our task. Imperfect is the joy not shared by all. That great line in Savitri, few lines which normally you keep quoting, we keep quoting and you know. Imperfect is the joy not shared by all. Let our will labor permitted by thy will. Then the Godhead of the wonderful vision speaks again. How is it possible for earth nature and man's nature to rise to the celestial levels, celestial height? How it is it possible? And yet for the earth to abide, not for earth is the all truth or the timeless bliss. Hers can be only some fragmental glimpse. Only a few can climb high, and the heroes and demigods are few. Most are built upon the nature's earthly plan. The inconscient draws the things to its breast of night and death and sleep. Imagine, again I will try to explain. Inconscient draws things to its breast of night and death and sleep. Man is the key. But even his knowledge is an ignorance. Man holds the key, still his knowledge is an ignorance. Leave to it the tardy pace of time. All will be done in its labor hour for the soul of man that is greater than his fate. Then again we can listen further. O flame, withdraw into thy luminous self. Withdraw into thy luminous self or return to thy original might above thought and world. Be one with my power. Thou art the world mother and the bride. Thou art the world mother and the bride. Cast down desire into the gulfs. Melt into thy invisible flame from where you really emerged. There shalt thou know the Lord and the loved. There shalt thou receive Satyavan into boundless Savitri. Lose thyself into infinity, Satyavan. Then Savitri replies, in vain thou temptest us with solitary bliss. In solitary bliss, that is solitary bliss, and in vain thou temptest. There is one task for which we are born, only one task for which we are born, missioned for that, missioned down for that purpose. To change the earthly life to life divine, I keep my will to save the world and man. I keep my will to save the world and man. If thou and I are true, the world is also true. If thou and I are true, the world is true. I have seen through the insentient mask of the secret spirit in things. I have felt the stir of the growing God. That's what the God replies again. That great reply we can hear. All that the spirit has dreamed, thou canst create. All the spirit has dreamed, thou canst create. Thou art the force by which I made the world. Now itself very much lenient, very much truthful, and in a fluent voice, the God replies. Thou art my force by which I made the world. Thou art my vision, my will, my voice. But lead not the evolving spirit too soon. Wait for time and God. Arise upon a ladder to greater worlds of infinity. Upon the ladder to greater worlds of infinity you arise. Leave the spirit and matter to their process in time and space to fulfill the intention of God. Everything as usual, normal way, evolution, the process of evolution, let everything start. Ascend thou into thy timeless self, discover the truth of God and man and world. Know all, see and stamp thy will on time. That's what the voice is. Again, a power goes forth shaking the very sphere and losing the fixities of form. The heaven worlds vanish in spiritual light. The heaven worlds vanish in spiritual light. Savitri finds herself in an ineffable world. She is one with all. In that phantom of abolished space, there cries a voice that unheard by ears. That is totally unheard. That voice arises, and only pure in soul, perfect in mind, transformed, the being, of course, mother like Savitri, she could be able to hear. Choose spirit, thy supreme choice, end thy journey, accept the weariness of thy notes, O music. Then someone yearns within a bosom of unknown, and silently the woman's heart replies, first, O Lord, keep thy peace for the magnificent soul of man on earth. Second time, the voice, eternal voice is heard. My spirit leans down to break the knot of earth, unweave the stars, and pass into my silence. Then, second reply from Savitri. In that immense and world destroying pause, Savitri hears the million centuries cry to her. The woman's nature then speaks for the second time. O Lord, give me thy oneness in the many. Give me thy oneness in the many, that is my sweet infinity of thy own innumerable souls. For the third time, the admonishing swells the admonishing call. Again, third time. I spread the refuge of my wings. My power is withdrawn above the dreadful wheelings of the world. Then sob of things was the answer to the voice. Passionately, the woman's heart, I mean Savitri, answers passionately to the God. Great word. O Lord, give me the energy to take all things and creatures in their grief and gather them into a mother's arms. And it comes the final answer, fourth time. For the last time, the great warning sound was heard. I opened the wide eyes of solitude to uncover the rapture of my bliss. Then finally Savitri replies, but with a hymn of adoration mounts, and the whole being of woman replies with yearning. O Lord, give me for earth and for men thy embrace for my the earth and for men, thy joy, thy love, and thy sweetness. After listening it, we can find how is the response we can find. After a silence, a still blissful cry begins. Thy thoughts are mine, sanctioning word we can find, consoling, sanctioning words. Thy thoughts are mine. I have spoken with thy voice. Whatever is spoken by you, that is my voice. I have spoken with thy voice. All that thou hast asked I give to earth and men. I yoke thee to my power of work in time. Thou shalt raise the earth soul to light and bring down God into the lives of men. That both ascend and descend, you will be inside, in the middle, mediating between the two. Forever love, O beautiful slave of God. Built is the golden child, golden tower, the flame child born. Built is the golden tower, the flame child is born. Descend to life with him, thy heart desires. O Satyavan, O luminous Savitri, I sent you forth of the world. You are my force at work to uplift earth's fate. For that, actually, I have missioned you age after age, time after time. That's what I send you forth into this world. When the hour of the divine draws near, the mighty mother shall take birth in time, and God be born into the human clay in the forms made ready by the human lives. That is what you know as Deva Muhurta, hour of God. So, the hour of the divine will draw near. Second, mighty mother shall take birth in time. Third, God shall be born in human forms, not in all, but the forms that are made ready by our human selves. All then shall change, a mightier race shall inhabit in the mortal's world. The Superman shall be reign as the king of life. The spirit shall look out through matter's gaze, and the matter shall reveal the spirit's face. That is the summary of Sri Aurobindo's entire yoga. The spirit shall look out through matter's gaze, and the matter shall reveal the spirit's face. Then man and Superman shall be at one. This earthly life will become a single plan. So let us now quote a few gorgeous lines from Savitri. That's what we already seen. We have seen that we have seen. The great thing. I am the inviolable ecstasy. They who have looked on me shall grieve no more. Earth in the then earth and the heaven we find. Heaven it's in its rapture dreams of perfect earth. Earth in its sorrow dreams of perfect heaven. The two longing to join yet walk apart, idly divided by the vain conceits. So here in the course, I climb not mother's voice, I climb not to the everlasting day, even as I have sound the eternal light. So everything is ascend, O soul, into thy blissful home. Then, O immortal to felicity, arise. We find some great words here. Give back to the other self, give back the other self, my soul desires, thy spaces need him not to help their joy. Earth needs his beautiful spirit for made by thee to fling delight down like a net of gold. Earth is the chosen place for mightiest souls. Earth is the heroic spirit's battlefield. Then I know that I can lift man's soul to God. I know that he can bring immortal down. Then about them, that glorious discussion we can find. Thy fine curved jeweled hilt called Savitri. Who Savitri is, how it is related. Thy fine curved jeweled hilt called Savitri. Thy blade's exultant smile named Satyavan. So then we can go a little bit forward, and how shall the earth nature and man's nature rise to the celestial levels at earth abide? Heaven and earth towards each other gaze across a gulf that a few can cross, none touch. So this is the heavens here in the course here. Few are the splendid moments of the seer, few are the silences in which truth is heard. The heroes and demigods are few. Then we can find, just imagine, if this were easily disturbed, the settled, it would break the settled balance of created things. Each creature to its appointed task and place is bound by his nature's form. Then we can go further here in the course, that great description we can find up later. In vain thou temptest with solitary bliss, two spirits saved out of a suffering world, my soul and his indissolubly linked. Receive him in boundless Savitri, lose thyself into infinity Satyavan. O miracle, where thou beganst there cease. So then that is the purpose of our coming, purpose of our arrivals here in the course, to raise the world to God in deathless light, to bring God down to the world on earth. We came to change the earthly life to life divine. So finally we can later we can go. I claim from thee for the world that thou hast made. If man then against man is bound by his pain, suffering and all, then there must be a solution. And mother asks, Savitri asks, if man lives bound by his humanity, he is tied forever to his pain. Then let a greater being then arise from man, the superhuman with the eternal mate, and the immortal shine through earthly limbs. Then Sri Aurobindo quotes that is a sanction answer, God's answer. Thou art the force by which I made the world. Thou art my vision and my will and voice. But knowledge who is thine, the world plan, thou knowest. So just imagine, think how who really Savitri is and what is her mission and purpose. In an ineffable world, she lived unfulfilled, an energy of the triune infinity. So again, bearing the eternity of spirit, bearing the burden of universal love, a universal mother of unnumbered souls. All things she knew, all things imagined or willed. Her ear was open to ideal sound. Then we can find again, choose spirit. That great prayer is there already. We have seen. Accept, O music, weariness in thy notes, and that reply, thy peace, O Lord, a boon within to keep. Amid the roar and ruin of a wild time, thy calm, O Lord, that bears the hands of joy. I am not going to quote it because these four steps already we have we have already discussed. Thy embrace which rends the living not of pain, thy joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe. Thy magic, flowing waters of deep love, thy sweetness give to me for earth and men. Then we can go a little bit forward. I lay my hands upon thy soul of flame. I lay my hands upon thy heart of love. I yoke thee to my power of work in time. My will is thine. What thou hast chosen, I choose. This is the answer. Thy days shall be my shafts of power and delight, power and light. Thy nights my starry mysteries of joy. And all my clouds light tangled in thy hair, and all my spring tides merry in thy mouth. Again, when all thy work in human time is done, the mind of earth shall be a home of light, the life of earth a tree growing towards heaven. Thy body, the body of earth, a tabernacle of God. Then just imagine. No shape shall screen thee from me, from my divine desire. Nowhere shalt thou escape my living eyes, because the universe find all I am in thee. Thou shalt bear all things that all things may change. So we can go. Delight shall drop down from my nectarous moon. My fragrance sees thee in the jasmine air. My eyes look upon thee from a sun. So I will pour delight from thee as from a jar. I will wheel thee as my chariot through the ways. I will use thee as my sword and as my lyre. I will play on thee my mistresses of thought. Then we have already seen, built is the golden tower, the flame child born. O Satyavan, O luminous Savitri, I sent you forth of old beneath the stars. Just imagine how we have been confining Mother and Sri Aurobindo in a very calendar year. Just imagine. I sent you forth of old beneath the stars. So then we can find when and mind in half light move towards the half truths, and the human heart knows the only human love. When you will descend, what about your birth? When it takes place in time and space? And life is a stumbling and imperfect force, and the body counts out its precarious days. You shall be born into man's dubious hour in forms that hide soul's divinity. That is the time of your descent. Mind in half light, move towards half truths. Moves amid half truths. And the human heart knows only human love. And life is a stumbling and imperfect force. And the body counts out its precarious days. You shall be born into man's dubious hours in forms that made the soul's that hides the soul's divinity. Again, mind is not it is a tireless climb can reach, because now mind is all and its uncertain ray. Mind is the leader of the thought, body and life. Mind is the thought divine chariot of the soul, but the mind is not all. Its tireless climb can his tireless climb can reach. There is a fire on the apex of the walls. There is a house on of the eternal light. There is an infinity truth and absolute power. The Spirit's mightiness shall cast off its mask, its greatness shall be felt, shaping the world's curve. But all can't see. A few shall glimpse the miraculous origin, and some shall feel in you the secret force. So we can find already we have seen the Superman shall wake in mortal man and manifest the hidden demigod, or grow godlike and light and God force, revealing the secret deity in the cave. Then shall the earth be touched by the supreme. So these are the conditions, and again we can find some glorious lines. The supermind shall be his nature's found. The eternal truth shall move his thoughts and acts. The eternal truth shall be his light and guide. All then shall change, a magic order come. The supermind shall claim the world for light and thrill with love of God, the enamored heart, and place light's crown on nature's lifted head. We can find the spirit's eyes shall look out through nature's eyes. The spirit's force shall occupy nature's force. This world shall be God's visible garden house. The earth shall be a field and camp of God. Man shall forget consent to mortality. Then in the next even there shall come as a high crown of all the end of death, the death of ignorance. Again, truth shall be a sun on nature's head. Truth shall be the guide of nature's steps, and the truth shall gaze out of nether deeps. When Superman is born as the nature's king, his presence shall transfigure the matter's world. He shall light up truth's fire in nature's night. He shall lay upon the earth truth's greater love. That is the work and that is the job of the Superman we have seen. Then the spirit stops and nature's base shall draw near to the secret of their separated truths and know each other as one deity. Humanity awake to a deepest self, nature the hidden Godhead recognize, even the many shall some answer make. Mortality's bond slaves shall unloose their bonds, mere men into spiritual things, beings grow, and seek awake the dumb divinity. Again, we can find these great lines Sri Aurobindo quotes here. And in the end point of this discussion, we find nature shall live to manifest the secret God. The spirit shall take up the human play. This earthly life become the life divine. With this, actually, the conversation between the great Lord, transformed Lord and Savitri, the universal mother, the divine mother, it comes to the concluding section. So let us have the final conclusion, summarization, final quotings from that final summarization. We'll see. The voice ceases and the soul of Savitri plunges down through unseen worlds amidst joyous voices and triumphant cries gathering her all the way down. Coming down everywhere you can find triumphant cries and joyous voice, and she comes down. She holds the soul of Satyavan within her enveloping soul. Holds the soul of Satyavan within her enveloping soul. The great wings of the superconscient close above. Great wings of the superconscient close above her, and she finds herself buried in the breast of the Earth Mother. Then what happens in the concluding two lines will write. Will try to summarize, have the gist, have the glimpse in terms of the summarization. A spirit gazes upon destiny, a glance of underlying undying love falls from that gaze. A wonderful face looks down with deathless eyes. Over the wide earth broods the infinity bliss. So, before concluding, let us just quote, try to read a couple of lines. That is the great lines as Sri Aurobindo has described in a great way. So, above her closed a darkness of great wings, and she was buried in in a mother's breast. Then that a great description we can found. The prophet moment covered limitless space and cast into the heart of hurrying time a diamond life of the eternal peace. A crimson seed of God's felicity, a glance from the gaze full of undying love. A wonderful face looked out with deathless eyes, a hand was seen drawing the golden bars that guard the imperishable secrecies. Then, and the last two lines, a power leaned down, a happiness found its home. A power leaned down, a happiness found its home. Over wide earth brooded the infinite bliss. Where there was only tension, problem, anguish, death, and fear. Everything is changed, everything you can find. Over wide earth brooded the infinite bliss. The great description, great word, great moment. It is really undescribably, it is great. There is no doubt of it. And we are hurrying further and we are coming to the conclusion with this line. Vande Mataram.